If you struggle with mixing your vocals and all the tutorials are talking way over your head, this video is for you. I'm going to simplify it for you. Firstly is we need to send all of these sounds to what's called a mixer. The mixer is where we organize sounds. So in FL Studio, let's click the channel rack. Let's double click under where it says audio here. You could also switch this to all, but let's switch it to audio. Double click all your audio tracks, hit Control L. That will send it to the mixer and assign them a mixer channel. What we have to do now is open up the mixer, which is this fader icon. We need to create a vocal group. Okay, so this is a hook, for example. So here's our demo vocal for today.
The ropes and I ain't losing hope, no, not going down for the count.
Okay, so there's 5 tracks that we need to organize. So firstly, let's highlight these 5 tracks, hit Control, left click and highlight all of the tracks, and then find this up arrow at the bottom, right click and route to this track only. Now all of these vocals will immediately go to this group we call vocal hook, and we can give it a separate color just so we can see.
The ropes and I ain't losing hope, no, not going down for the count.
Okay, so now they're all organized. So whenever you're mixing an entire song, what you could do is you could hit Alt and then left click on your group, and it will mute everything else except for that group. So it's going to mute my vocals, but you could hit Alt, left click right here.
The ropes and I ain't losing hope, no.
And that's a quick way to just hear your group very fast. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is level everything. Most of the time your tracks are coming in way too loud. So what I'll do is go back to the channel rack. We're going to turn down what's called the channel volume to about 50%. You can read the value in the top left here. Right click, hit C to copy, and right click to paste on the channel volume. This is because I don't want the volume going into any plugin super loud. And that's for many reasons. Okay, so now let's play a little section here.
They trying to knock me out. My back's against the...
So now it's still sitting in the green. It's not up in the yellow and the orange and the red because we don't have any room to work. The first step is just creating room. Also, the first step is making sure you get a good recording. I can't tell you how much a bad recording can just mess up the mixing process. So focus on the recording process. If you want to take it to a high level, I highly recommend the GIK Acoustics PIB. It's called Portable Isolation Booth. And I was recommended that by Mixbus TV, and it really did clean up my recordings. It's you know, it can be expensive for some folks, but it was well worth it and great results.
They trying to knock me out. My back's against...
Okay, next thing is panning. So some of these takes are not supposed to be dead center and take up all the attention. Some of these are backing tracks. So let's pan the backing tracks left and right.
They trying to knock me out.
Automatically the track feels bigger. The way we perceive biggerness is when something on the left side is not the same as the right side.
They trying to knock.
So all the small little changes in your vocals will actually become an advantage to panning stuff wider.
They trying to knock me out.
So don't focus on auto-tuning everything perfectly and making sure everything's perfectly timed, because then you won't perceive left and rightness.
They trying to knock me out.
Really simple.
My back.
So now we need to highlight these tracks, hit Control, and then just pull these down.
They trying to knock me out. My back's against the ropes and I...
And now what I'm going to do is emphasize the main lead vocal a little bit more by turning it up.
They trying to knock me out. My back's against the ropes and I ain't losing hope, no, not going down for the count.
Now, if you need more volume, we can always go to the vocal hook and add in a parametric EQ2, for example. Just turn up the left side, which is a gain knob.
They trying to knock me out.
So you can use this as like an input knob for those who understand this. So there's a free plugin by Acoustica Audio called Arctic. I would highly recommend you grab it. It's just a great compressor for free. I can't believe it's free. Okay, we're going to load this up. Okay, so this is like the sound of a high-end compressor for free. Okay, so you can oversample if you want.
They trying to knock.
It will affect the high frequencies. So let's turn this up, but we're going to have to turn our audio buffer length up. So when you get into mixing mode, it's not like tracking mode where you can have a low buffer length.
They trying to knock me out.
All we have to do is just turn up the compression or turn down the threshold.
They trying to knock me out. My back's against...
Now keep in mind, I'm compressing all of the vocals at once. I'm not compressing one vocal. If you want to separate backgrounds, you could compress them differently. But in this case, we're just going to compile everything into one group.
They trying to knock me out.
And don't be afraid to compress. I'm going to compress a lot
They
just so you
trying
can
to
hear.
knock me out. My back's against the ropes and I ain't losing hope.
See how it adds that aggression to the
They
tape?
trying to knock me out. My back's against the ropes and I ain't losing hope.
So don't be afraid to compress. It won't take away. It just will pick up more of the background
They
sound.
trying to knock me out.
So let's just do
My
about
back's against...
3 to 6 dB of compression
They
here.
trying to knock me out. My back's against the ropes and
If you want more compression, you could always turn your input up. I'm going to turn the output up just a little
they
bit.
trying to knock me out.
So now the next step is really simple. All we need is an EQ. We're going to use the Coffee Pun EQ from Acoustical Audio, again, a free plugin.
They tryna,
We're going to turn this up to 20K and boost the highs with what's called a high shelf. Let's turn this to the right, turn
they
this up.
tryna knock me out.
It's going to add that glistening to the top of the
They
vocal.
tryna knock me out. My back's against the ropes and I ain't losing hope, no.
Now, if the vocal's too aggressive, we can always go back to the compressor and turn down things.
They tryna knock me out. My back's against the ropes and I ain't losing hope, no.
Firstly, I start with the output gain because usually people add too much output
They
gain.
tryna knock me out. My back's
Now let's add more body to the vocal by pulling up these lower frequencies here with the low boost frequency. Turn this up
they tryna
and just boost it until you hear the low end round the
tryna
vocal out.
knock me out.
Hear that? So just find the sweet spot for your vocal. There's no one set
They
setting.
tryna knock me out. My back's against
I think 220 sounds
they
good.
tryna knock me out. My back's against the ropes and I ain't losing hope.
It just adds that like realism back to the sound. Before it was a little too hollow.
They tryna knock me out. My back's against
If there's still like frequencies you don't like, you can also cut different frequencies. This is for more advanced folks, but you can cut 320.
they tryna knock me out.
It just will thin out your vocal.
They tryna knock me out. My back's against the ropes and
Usually 320, 440 is where you get a lot of
they
mud.
tryna knock me out. My back's against the ropes and I ain't losing hope, no. Not going down for the count.
Now let's push the compressor a little bit more
They
aggressively.
tryna knock me out. My back's against the rope.
What we're doing is increasing the ratio, it's
They
called.
tryna knock me out.
And now we're in saturation
They
mode.
tryna knock me out. My back's against the rope.
And you can see it gets really
They
aggressive.
tryna knock me out. My back's against the ropes and I ain't losing hope, no. Not
Now let's focus on just the lead vocal.
they tryna knock me out. My back's against the ropes and I ain't losing hope, no. Not going down for the count.
So here's before.
They tryna knock me out. My back's against the ropes and I ain't losing hope, no. Not
Here's
going
after.
down for the count. You can give me all you've got, but I ain't gonna stop at all. You can throw your hooks, hit jabs, it'll take more than that to knock me off my hustle. I ain't giving up this. They
So it
tryna
depends on your taste and it depends on the record, but you could always go back to change that lower
They
frequency.
tryna knock me out. My back's against the ropes and I ain't losing hope, no. Not going down for the count. You can give me all you've got, but I ain't gonna stop at all. You can throw your hooks, hit jabs, it'll take more than that to knock me off my hustle. I ain't giving up this belt so easy. You'll be giving up before you. They tryna
Okay, so let's add, this is a bonus. Now we're going to talk about sends. Okay, so let's set up a reverb on a different mixer channel. Let's just use a free reverb. Let's use Fruity Reverb 2. We're going to right click, reset the wet level, turn down the dry level. Let's widen out the stereo and increase the decay curvature here. You don't need to memorize this. I will give you the project files for free. If you go to our Discord, just go to discord.gg/busyworksbeats. I'll give you all the project files for free. So you guys don't have to memorize this. And the plugins I'm listing here are for free and they're listed in our Discord as well. So let's click on the vocal. We're going to left click to send a duplicate of the vocal over to a
They
reverb.
tryna knock me out. My back's against the
just turn
ropes and
this
I
down.
ain't losing hope, no. Not going down for the count.
Decay's a
You
little
can
too
give
long.
me all you've got, but I ain't gonna stop at all. You can throw your hooks, hit jabs, it'll take more than that to knock me off my hustle. I ain't giving up this belt so easy. You'll be giving up before you see me knocked out. They tryna knock me out. My back's against the ropes and I ain't losing hope, no.
Now again, we're being lazy by grouping the vocals like this. Technically, I would like to separate the lead from the group and just kind of treat the group a little bit differently. But for this video's sake, I'm trying to simplify it for you. So usually I would separate the backing tracks from the lead vocal. In this case, it's not that much of a difference to separate them
They
separately.
tryna knock me out. My back's against the ropes and I ain't losing hope, no. Not going down for the count. You can give me.
And again, if your vocals feel squashed, just pull back on the threshold on the compressor.
They tryna knock me out. My back's against the ropes and I ain't losing hope, no, not going down for the count. You can give me all you've got, but I ain't gonna stop at all. You can throw your hooks, your jabs, it'll take more than that to knock me off my hustle. I ain't giving up, this belt's so easy. You'll be giving up before you see me knocked out. They tryna knock me out.
Also, here's a bonus. There's a plugin called TDR Nova. You could use this for any resonance that are building up. This is a little more advanced. That's why I didn't really focus on this. But TDR Nova is a free EQ that has dynamic features that you don't get in the stock FL Studio plugin. So let's say there's a lot of buildup around, let's say, let's find the buildup.
They tryna knock me out. My back's against the ropes and I ain't losing hope.
Okay, so we're listening for any kind of resonance that sounds overly like too much energy.
Gonna stop at all. You can throw your hooks, your jabs, it'll take.
I think around 350 it's a little heavy.
Off my hustle. I ain't giving up. This belt's so easy. You'll be giving.
Okay, so let's say 350 for example. I'm just gonna quickly add this in. Now this is a little hard to explain to a beginner here, but what we're doing is pulling out some of the energy of the vocal that is just too dense basically. And we could select this and then we could set it to a threshold mode, which makes this a dynamic EQ.
They tryna knock me out.
And change your Q value to make it a little bit
They
sharper.
tryna knock me out.
And now you can solo this
They
band.
tryna knock me out.
So all the energy that's like building up right here, this is the zone. We're kind of pulling it out before we start adding compression and everything.
Tryna knock me out.
We're just correcting the
My
vocal.
back's against the ropes and I ain't losing hope, no, not going down for the count.
You can turn up the ratio to make it more
Give me
aggressive.
all you've got, but I ain't gonna stop at all.
It's a little difficult to read.
They tryna knock
That's why I don't
me
really
out.
focus on this plugin that much.
My back's against the ropes and I ain't losing hope, no.
So that just cleans up the vocal just a little bit. Also, you want to check around 750
They
hertz.
tryna knock,
It's another zone where there's a lot of buildup
they
happening.
tryna knock me out. My back's against the ropes and I ain't losing hope, no, not going down for.
From about 750 to like 850 in this vocal. So I'm going to turn it on. Not that every track
They
needs
tryna
this, but I'm
knock
just showing you
me
what it would sound like.
out. My back's against the ropes and I ain't losing hope, no, not going down for the count. You can give me all you've got, but I ain't gonna stop at all. You can throw.
Now let's add the other
They
plugin.
tryna knock me out. My back's against the ropes and I ain't losing hope, no, not going down for the count. You can give me all you've got, but I ain't gonna stop at all. You can throw your hooks, your jabs, it'll take more than that to knock me off my hustle. I ain't giving up, this belt's so easy. You'll be giving up before you see me knocked out. They tryna knock me out. My back's against the ropes and I ain't losing hope, no, not going down for the count. You can give me all you've got, but I ain't gonna stop at all. You can throw your hooks, your jabs, it'll take more than that to knock me off my hustle. I ain't giving up, this belt's so easy. You'll be giving up.
So don't be afraid to boost the lows. That's it. If you want to learn more and learn how to mix songs and mix beats, we have a course called the Mixing Fundamentals. Just go to premium.busyworksbeats.com. In fact, I'll leave a link below in the video description, and you will get the project files for this for free. Just go to our Discord, discord.gg/busyworksbeats. Peace out, guys.